There's this funny thing a lot of anime tend to do, which is follow the source material. But Solo Leveling said fuck all that, and we got something better. Solo Leveling takes place in the real world, which is already a step ahead of most anime that will kill their MC and place them in a new world just to have that fantasy aspect in their story. That's boring and redundant. You see, over a decade ago, dimensional gates opened up around the world, introducing unimaginable threats. These threats can't be taken out through any modern conventional means. Something I beg to differ on. Throw an atomic nuke at a goblin and watch him try to tank that. At the same time these gates appeared in the world, so did humans with special abilities. Nothing crazy like My Hero Academia, but these awakened people called hunters explore and take care of these threats. If they don't close the dungeon after several days, then those threats can cross over into their world and cause chaos, making being a hunter the most important, dangerous, and lucrative career to get into. Hunters can rank anywhere in between being an S rank to the lowest of E rank. Once you awaken, your rank is set in stone. So if you're an S rank, you're cool, kicking it, living an easy peasy life. However, if you're an E rank, consider yourself cooked. You may be stronger than someone who isn't awakened, but you're gonna consistently be getting your ass kicked and face more prejudice than a black man living in the 1900s, more than a woman living in the 1800s, more than a grown-ass adult giving their opinion on an anime. Okay, I may have exaggerated a bit somewhere in there. If for some reason you ever asked yourself, how would I pair up against fighting a strangely athletic toddler? Just know you would be in the same boat as my motherfucking goat Sung Jinwoo. He's what's known as the weakest hunter of all mankind. That's because he has abnormally low magic levels for an E rank. He's more close to being a civilian than a hunter, but despite him coming close to death every single time he enters a dungeon, he continuously runs back in. Any sane person would just quit, but Jinwoo has something I like to call bills. He's a broke-ass 23-year-old, just like me, which really helps with my immersion as I'm watching the show. However, what doesn't help with my immersion are all these damn anime exclusive scenes. If you read the manga or light novel, this was definitely the first thing you noticed too. Anime exclusive scenes aren't all that bad. A few years ago, those exclusive scenes were commonly known as filler, where the production studio wrote and animated characters of the story doing whatever bullshit so the anime wouldn't catch up with the source material. As time went on, anime exclusive scenes were used differently. Instead of it being used as unwanted filler, it's now being used as a means to enhance the story, like making fights longer or animating certain scenes that the characters mention. The way Solo Leveling goes about it though, is to throw these scenes in your face any chance they get. It can get annoying because it disrupts the flow of the story and just take you out of it. That was my experience anyway. If you haven't read the manhwa or the light novel, then you likely won't notice or even care. What you will notice are the underdeveloped side characters. With the anime exclusive scenes, majority of them are for the purpose of introducing characters, items, and arcs sooner than later. Imagine having ashy skin and a singular drop of lotion on your fingertip. The way you would try to spread it all around your entire body is the same way the anime tried spreading the side characters. There's only so much you can spread these characters and their personalities before they appear one-dimensional. I strongly believe that's where the anime is fucking up. It shows off these characters in a way where you want more, but there's nothing more to give. That doesn't mean that you won't enjoy any of the side characters. I love Hunter Cha. She's damn, I want to be that water bottle. At least the fan service is tasteful and makes sense. Unlike a certain anime. I don't care what anyone says, the plot is downright interesting and the way it tells its story is entertaining. If you never touched a manhwa in your life and ignore SAO, then this is your first time coming across a video game-like power system. Although the main character having a system isn't totally a new idea, you can appreciate the way Solo Leveling innovated this concept. I would like to say it consistently keeps you on your toes where Jinwoo ranks, but that would be lying, since we're frequently reminded on who could beat his ass. What it does best is keeping us wondering how he would pair up against another hunter. Like, there's this S-rank hunter who wants to murder Jinwoo, but he got to his location just a little too late. I'd like to believe Jinwoo could take him out without issue, but there was this small part of me worried. But what am I talking about? Like, this wouldn't quickly turn into JJK and Jinwoo with his shadows would start jumping him. I know what I said about anime exclusive scenes taking me out of the immersion, but that's because I think some of them are badly placed or even unnecessary. But hey, you won't see me complaining about some ass on my screen. All kidding aside, when it gets to those intense moments, I feel like I'm there too. Even as I'm writing this, when I think back on those moments when I was watching, I don't have any memories of my surroundings, what temperature my room felt like. Any attempt of my cat made to meow at me relentlessly fell silent. I wasn't in my room then or even on Earth. Instead, I was there in the cold, abnormally large dungeon at the mercy of that giant statue. Even though I know what was going to happen, my heart still races and my nerves stand on end. I'm watching intensely, rooting for Jinwoo as the weakest hunter of all mankind tries to survive this hopeless situation. But what brings these scenes to life even more is having talented voice actors for the roles. Alex Led did a phenomenal job voice acting Jinwoo and even having some influence when it came to adding or changing up some of the lines. I was scrolling through TikTok and saw one of his videos talking about how they wanted to make each time he said, "Arise" different, so I paid close attention every time a scene came up where he used "arise," and he didn't lie. It's a small detail I don't think many people will catch, and that's pretty unfortunate, but that goes to show how passionate he and everyone else was when voice acting. Even if you didn't know who he was or any of the other voice actors, they're amazing as well. I can hear all the different types of emotions the voice actors are simulating. What's even better is everyone's voice is unique. They didn't slap an obnoxiously high-pitched voice on every woman or have a cartoonishly evil-sounding villain for the orc boss. At first, I couldn't understand a damn thing he said. I mean, I understood almost nothing because when this man talks, it sounds like he has a mouthful of cheese. That's the weird part though, because I like it. It looks like it fits exactly who this character looks like. Although it doesn't bother me when an anime doesn't do that, I find going the extra mile to be satisfying. I get all anime can't do this because if that was the case, Beastars would sound a whole lot more different. Okay, it's no secret Solo Leveling's animation is fucking amazing. The fights are done in a way where you can feel the weight of the attacks. You're not just getting nonsensical fighting that just looks cool. What you're getting is a complete immersion into the story. With every sword swing Icarus does, you can feel how powerful it is. As Jinwoo barely dodges the goblin's attacks, you can feel the desperation to survive and your butthole pucker up. I can sit here for a while and yap about how amazing the animation is, but it's overwhelming. For example, they didn't have to animate Jinwoo moving like he's Spider-Man, but they did anyway. I'm definitely trying this on the first power line I get my hands on. I love how they play around with the different perspectives and camera work. When all of the S ranks are competing against each other, the camera follows them around the stadium. It doesn't feel like it's one endless stage area where no matter how far the characters are moving, they don't bump into each other. Instead, when two characters are moving across the entire stadium, they're interacting with everyone else there. That may not seem huge, but it's the small details that make it all the more entertaining and interesting. It's not just the fight scenes either, but the basic scenes too. Throwing it back to when Jinwoo was running for his life, it gets to a point where both character and viewer momentarily form a link. We are too stuck in a daze and depersonalization happens. The camera shots reflect this, pivoting between zooming in and out further and further until we get a more personal shot snapping us back into reality. Besides that scene, there's a whole lot more visual metaphors I'd love to get into, but sometimes it's better just to appreciate them without speaking. Not everything needs a reaction. I've been having fun geeking out about Solo Leveling, but now it's time to address the annoying elephant in the room. Anytime someone points out something that the anime failed to adapt from the manhwa, there's always a group of people that say, well, that's because they're adapting the light novel. When I don't remember this shit ever being in the light novel. If you take 10 minutes out of your day to compare the anime versus light novel, then you'd go back to the restroom and finish wiping your ass before spreading that shit to other people. This isn't something that throws me into a blind rage or even something that keeps me up at night. Just a mild annoyance whenever I do see it. There are interesting aspects of the light novel and there are some not so interesting aspects. Think of the light novel as having some extended scenes where it goes more into depth about how certain characters are feeling or what they're thinking. When I was comparing the scenes, I found myself continuing reading well past the part I was originally reading for. It was interesting learning new things about some characters or how differently it played out in the anime, but also manhwa. The manhwa was how I originally got into Solo Leveling. The art was amazing, a little funny at times, and super fucking cool. I was gonna make a video about it the day I finished it, but decided not to because I didn't know how to make a video properly glazing it. I haven't read too many manhwas, so I don't know if others do this too, but it plays plays around with the vertical format which manhwas are read. It made the experience that much more amazing to read. It felt like the artist and storyboard director really considered the viewing experience of which readers would have. You can literally screenshot any scene you want and it would look great as your phone's wallpaper. The thing about the manhwa is it enhances the story told in the light novel. You know those dope ass monologues you hear in the anime and or read in the manhwa? Yeah, those don't exist in the light novel. Also, in the light novel, the side characters are even more scarce than that in the manhwa. For this last one, I'm gonna need you to sit down. Are you sitting? Alright then, fuck you. You know everyone's favorite autistic phrase? Arise. The manhwa made it up. In the light novel, it's rise up. Ew, lame. I feel sorry just for even saying that. After collecting all 3 Infinity Stones, it made me realize something. When it went from the light novel to the manhwa, then anime, they're all so different from one another. You would think that as they continue to make adaptations, they would be faithful to the original source material. I mean, that's what mostly all adaptations tend to do, because if they don't, the studio runs the risk of losing the rights to adapt the story. The manhwa tried writing in some of the side characters more than what was shown in the light novel, and the anime takes it even further and implements them more into the story. So when thinking back on the anime exclusive scenes, it makes me think and appreciate them differently than before dipping my nose into the light novel. Although the anime cuts out some dope ass scenes from the manhwa, there is one thing I think it does better than both the light novel and the manhwa. On Jeju Island, Jinwoo is trying hard to think of a way to save Hunter Cha. His potions don't work because her health is too low, so digging in that big brain of his, he comes to the realization, or more accurately hears, the S-rank hunter that died and had Tusk bring him. When Jinwoo turns him into a shadow soldier, it takes him just one time. Then the shadow soldier goes and heals Hunter Cha without an order. Jinwoo said that he heard his soul wanting to heal her. I thought it was a nice addition and sentiment to the story. It reuses the concept of Jinwoo being able to hear the souls of the dead and combines it with the personality of the S-rank healer. In the manhwa, he asked his shadow soldiers to find the body, and once he gets it, it takes him 3 attempts to turn him into a shadow soldier. The reason being, the S-rank hunter thinks it's immoral and feels strongly opposed to being turned into one. Once Jinwoo successfully turns him into a shadow soldier, without command, he heals Hunter Cha. Lastly, in the light novel, Jinwoo carries Hunter Cha to the location where he sensed the body of the S-rank healer. When attempting to turn him into a shadow soldier, he fails once because Jinwoo was against the idea of turning a blameless guy into one of his soldiers. So when he tries a second time, he strengthens his will and successfully does it. After the fact, it goes on to tell us Jinwoo and his shadows all have a mental link to each other. So when his eyes meet the new shadow soldier, it understood what Jinwoo wanted. I think there are certain aspects you can enjoy and take away from the manhwa, light novel, and anime. None of them necessarily are better than the other, just a little different in some aspects. I like the anime for bringing the story to life. I like the manhwa for getting me into the story plus its reading experience, and I like the light novel for the extra information it gives upon the characters. The anime is amazing, no doubt about it. This isn't my first time experiencing the story, so I know what's to come. Admittedly, I was originally slightly annoyed when crowds of people started writing Solo Leveling off as a story that's just hype and nothing else to it. But then I remembered this is their first time experiencing such a masterpiece too. I can admit it is a bit of a power fantasy because I found myself at times asking if I would make the same decisions as Jinwoo and thinking how badass it would be if I had his abilities. But that's what I like to do with almost any media I watch. I can go on and talk about the cool moments I know they're gonna look back on, but I don't want to ruin the surprise. So for now, I'll just sit back, watch anime, and continue making more content. If you made it this far into the video, thank you. I appreciate you for watching, and hey, why don't you go ahead and leave me a nice comment. Tell me how pretty your shoes are. And also let me know what you think about Solo Leveling. You know, leave a like, I appreciate those. And share this video with other people you think like Solo Leveling, or haven't seen it. This video contains no spoilers whatsoever. Anyway, I'm back on the ball again. I'll see you guys sometime soon. I love you all. Thank you all so much for watching, and have a good day. Goodbye.